There's the stuffies, the kind of stuffies that you'd find on your kid's bed as you're cuddling them in at night, hoping to read them a book. And we are talking about reading and Raise a Reader. It is a national campaign. We're getting a little bit of a kickstart today with our mom in the know, Julie Findlay. Great to have you back on the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
I love this spread. Usually it's food, it's ideas, and I love this today.
This is fun because all those stuffies are actually puppets. So literacy is not just the reading of the story, but it's the telling the story, acting out the story, singing the story. Like, think of all those songs that you're singing on the way to the cottage. They all have a story to them. And it's that idea that you're getting your kids to sort of retell the stories, have conversations with you. That's all the different elements and concepts of literacy. So that's why I thought I'd bring up some ideas of how you can do some fun things. Just like this here, this is all magnetic letters. So you can get letters and just a tin baking sheet and start creating words. And I mean, the first word is their name, the next one, you know, love, all the words that you want to get with your family.
When you look at this campaign, where do you see things really with the kickstart? I mean, as a mom, it's the first thing you want to do is start with those bedtime stories really early, but to then transition that it's their learning rather than just that downtime.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the idea that when you have that story and you're holding it and you just kind of skip a letter here and there, and it might be the same story. I don't know if your girls liked it, but they like the same story over and over again. Well, the next thing you know, they're retelling you the story. They might not be reading the letters, but they're really excited to hold the book, retell the story, and then it becomes pictures. Or at school, they like to make pictures, and with every picture there's a story. So then they start to ask questions like, oh, how do I write that story, or what are the letters? So then you're getting books that have ideas of how to sound out the letters, and therefore the small little sounds like ooh and at, and you know, how many words rhyme.
Still struggling with those, trust me.
Yeah,
and one of the ways too is, because you talk about pictures, is to do it with stamps and with colors and use it that way.
Yeah, so you're just taking little stamps and you're putting them anywhere on the page, and you're making little stories with it. The other thing too that you're reading is not just letters and pictures, it's numbers. So that's fun. So if you want to get numbers and number literacy, you can play Go Fish with cards. So they get to know their numbers better. Dominoes is another great one because they're then counting the letters and then recognizing the groupings of elements. And then cooking, which I love doing. Like Megan and Jackson from the beginning of time would go into the bathroom with this, fill this with water, and then start filling the measuring cups. And then they start to know the difference of measurements. And then they're starting to ask, oh, and then when you bring them
in the bath.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah,
why
they
not?
love it.
It's everywhere for
them.
them.
It is everywhere.
Yeah.
That's why
nice.
I put
Nice
it in
suggestion right there.
And now they're into cooking, and they're loving that too. The other thing is get a creative writing center going. Like, just get a little box that could travel with you, or it's in one spot. Because it seems like if you can build it, they will come. So there's nice pencils. I got this idea even from their school. Every time I go in to sign in the kids, well, not every time I'm late, but when I'm signing in, they have these really fun things at the end of the pencil. And I thought, that's just so fun. And now Megan and Jackson and I made all different ones. Jackson's got a bunch of dinosaurs on the end of his. And that's the pencil that they sort of go for and do. So if you got glue stick, you have scissors, you just have things that make crafts, and then with that comes stories. And a lot of things, especially with boys or with kids that have short attention spans, there's a lot of magazines. And the other thing about Raise a Reader, which is great, is the best resource is our public libraries. They have so many programs, and I think, you know, if you get a chance just to go in once in a while, just see what the programs are. A lot of times no one gets in there because there's so many exchanges of books throughout the year, all the book sales that go on. Take advantage of that. Just recycle your books, get new books coming in. But magazines are great. These are just like little facts that kids can learn about, talk about, ask you about. Also little trivia games. And the other great thing is if you don't have time to read, books on tape. So, books on CD. I know, I keep saying books on tape.
Well, that's because that's how that's what we're accustomed to.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I like this too, and just the travel aspect, you can take them in the car if you have long trips, extend it past just the certain allotment of time that you're doing at the house.
And this is great too. If this is in the car, you could be drawing pictures, you could be doing letters. We have games that if it's like at in like 30 seconds, how many words can you rhyme with at? Because rhyming is the easiest thing to do with kids first when they first start to learn. That's why your Dr. Seuss books are so great. And they're so packable because everything's rhyming.
I want to take this entire table home. Let me tell you that.
Great.
Julie, always a pleasure. Our mom in the know. The Raise a Reader campaign about to kick off. It will run nationwide, but some great ideas prior to, and of course their kids are back at school. Some of them you want to be able to catch in on it pretty quickly if you know that they're struggling or that passion isn't there. The basis for their entire education.
Yeah, and I've got some ideas on the site too.
Perfect. So head to the website as well.